2. Oh, nearly. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our impromptu live. We didn't advertise it. We just thought we need to come on because we haven't done one for the last couple of weeks because of Crufts. So I'm just going to do what I need to do. And Lee's just going to fill in a minute whilst I do it.
I hate filling in because I never know what to say. So I'm like floundering.
What have you been up to today, Lee? Tell everyone about the new page.
I have been building the website today. So I've had a quiet day. I've locked myself away in a little room, asked nobody to disturb me so I can get my creative juices flowing, and I've been building the website.
Fabulous.
So
right, there's that one done. Just bear with me a little second.
So hopefully if we get another couple of visitors there today, they'll be able to see our new partnership page, which is up and running, talking all about partnership tax returns, who is a partnership, when you should be a partnership, and what happens if you're not and you're secretly trading as one but not told HMRC. So
which
a little bit informative.
We actually get quite a few of those, don't we?
We do.
Or where two people are working together but are registered as sole traders and haven't registered as a partnership, which is not what we came on to talk about. However, however, I feel like it's rather relevant. So if you had a couple, or I would say a couple because that's generally the ones where we come across, husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, and they both have a dog walking business. However, they're both registered as sole traders, and some take some income, some takes the other, and they just divvy the expenses. They need to be a partnership.
Yeah, they do, and it's not for the reasons that you think that's necessarily obvious as well. So what we basically say is if any two or more people are working together for the sole collective of one business name, one business, one social media presence, one website, one telephone number, and you're building that business collectively together, and then you're splitting the profits and splitting the expenses or splitting the income because one of you does more than the other, ultimately you are a secret partnership because it's all to better the goal of the one business name that you're building. And the issue that we have is when two people do it as sole traders when they should be a partnership is you can actually breach the VAT threshold without realizing it. So your proportion of the income of that partnership, the money that you generate as sales, will need to be added to the other partners to work out whether or not you've gone over the 90,000, which is why being and registering a partnership is much better because you're above board from HMRC. They're not going to come knocking and say, well, actually, you guys are a partnership, so we're going to late fine you for not registering. And then you've got all the backdated VAT to do as well. So not only that, you can halve your expenses in terms of operating costs, your accountancy fees, your insurances, your software. You don't have to double those up as a partnership because a partnership is a legal entity in its own right. So there's pros and cons to having a partnership.
And if you've just joined us and you're saying the Crufts thing and now we're talking about partnerships, it was just an ad hoc thing because we just did the partnership page. So if you are in that situation and you're confused, then give us a shout. We just thought, obviously, we did Crufts a couple of weeks ago. God, it feels like it was like months ago.
I know it does.
But we did it a couple of weeks ago. It is the pet accountant's fourth Crufts, mine and Lee's third Crufts. So we've done it every year for the last 4 years. The last couple of years, we've always been in Hall 1. And we just thought we'd come in and share our trials and tribulations of having a stand at Crufts. Just in case you are thinking of getting a stand at Crufts, like how much it costs. Where to stay, where not to stay. It is expensive. And that's one thing you've got to bear in mind is obviously you need to be covering your costs at the end of it. So our stand was, I think, 3x2. So they do it on like square meterage is how they charge it. And we had the smallest one that you can get, which is 3x2. And that was about £1,700.
Thereabouts, yeah.
Yeah, just about around £1,700. But you've got to pay £300 deposit. And then they randomly send you an invoice at some point and say, now you need to pay the rest. So that £1,700 has to be paid, obviously, before you go. I think possibly December, January time, I think it needs to be paid.
I think it's a little bit like a lottery as well, isn't it? And let's face it, if you can get into Crufts, then happy days. But it also depends on where they put you as well, as we found out this year. So I'll come on to that in a second, but Crufts is a kind of like a lottery. You put your name down to try and get a stand, and it is luck of the draw whether or not you're going to get one or not.
I do think, though, if you've had one in the past, you're more likely to get selected to get it the next year. So we've been lucky in that we've had it for the last 4 years. Like I say, we paid £1,700 for the stand itself. Then to get a plug socket, one plug socket, I think was like £350. Which is just ridiculous, but there you go. You do have to pay extra if you want access to their Wi-Fi. So that's another thing to consider. Like if you have got card machines and things that you need access to the internet, and obviously
and
lights and things.
Phone signal's not great there as well. So depending on your network operator, we were on Orange. It's not Orange now, is it? It's EE. So I had okay phone signal, enough to be able to take card payments via my phone. But I think when Jodie was there as well, she may have been on O2, and that had some difficulties. So you shouldn't really rely just on the network provider, because it does get quite congested there, and the connections were relatively slow whilst you're inside of Crufts. So that's just one thing to consider.
So that was the stand itself and the plug socket. There's loads of extras you can buy, but it's an absolute fortune. Then you've obviously got the hotel costs. Now, the first year we did it, we stayed in a Holiday Inn or Premier Inn.
20 minutes away, wasn't it, by a drive?
Hell on earth, never doing that again. Yeah. If you've got a stand, we need to be closer, because it was a ball ache. So we decided the second year not to do that, and we stayed as what Lee describes as the Poxy Moxie. We stayed at the Moxie, which location-wise, 10 out of 10.
You couldn't get any closer. Nah. It was literally across the road.
Noise-wise, 1 out of 10.
Horrific.
Obviously, all the dogs stay there, and it was very noisy all night.
I don't even think it was the dogs inside the hotel. I think it was the dogs arriving early morning outside. So at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, that's all you hear is dogs barking outside the hotel, queuing up to try and get into Crufts.
The room was the size of a shoebox.
And no fridge. So
no
fridge.
Warm.
And it's very basic.
How much did that one cost?
That one wasn't that cheap. I want to say that was about £1,000 a room. So it was quite expensive for the 4 days that we were there.
So again, you've got to factor in that, depending how many of you are going and if you've got any staff that are going. So that's £1,000 each for the rooms, and then obviously you've got your food and drink whilst you're there, which can be a business expense. It's fine, but still costing the business money. So you've got your hotel costs, your travel down there costs, your food and drink costs, the stand costs. And then this year we stayed in the Genting, which is inside the Resorts World, which is a little bit posh. We did see all the celebs in the morning having breakfast.
I was going to say we were breakfasting with the celebs.
So we saw Claire Balding, Ellie Simmons, and the old guy that we cannot remember his name, but he was on telly. I recognise him, but can't remember his name. So they were all staying there. Very nice, very expensive. I think this one was about £1,300 a room.
No, it was £1,506 per room.
Oh, it didn't tell me that. Didn't tell me that. However, there is a perk. You got to clean out the minibar, which was free, which we didn't realise till the second night. So we could have, we wasted a minibar. So when we all found out, the minibar got emptied.
Slight caveat there, it's only free for certain rooms in that hotel, not every room. So if you do go there, just double check before you start emptying that minibar.
We didn't realise, so then we just emptied it and got our money's worth. But the room was nice. All of ours was really warm, which I wasn't keen on. I couldn't get the aircon to work, but other than that,
was perfect.
The breakfast was nice. The location was nice. Even better, you get to park in that underground car park, which is an absolute dream. Anyone that does Crufts knows that you have to park.
I think that is the closest car park to hole one that you can get.
Yeah, which is about 4 miles away from the actual venue. And it's just horrific. So the Genting gets our vote for location, amenities, car park. It was just, our setting up experience was like a million times better than last year. Yeah. Now, again, if you saw us last year and saw us this year, you will have seen a marked improvement on our stand. Now, me and Lee I've never had a stand anywhere before in our lives. You know, we were stand virgins. So when we had our first 2 years of stand, we thought it was the dog's bollocks. And we were there all chuffed last year with our little bags and just the table and the banners.
It was a picnic fold-out table with a black cloth over it, with a couple of business cards just strewn across it in a smiley face. And we thought it was
a table with a tablecloth on, and we thought we were like the bee's knees. And
on mismatching banners, different ones from different suppliers, one with a different logo on from when Vicky was on her own. It was shit.
It was shit. And before we did Crufts again, Lee was like, "Oh, sent me a text going, I think we should maybe invest some money in getting a stand, like a new stand." And my reply was, "Why? Our stand last year was absolutely fine." Then he sent me the picture of it, and I went, "Yeah, that looks shit." And it was. On reflection, it was horrific. But we've learned our lesson, and we invested about 1,500-1,600 quid on a new stand, which you would have seen on the photos. So it had the big backdrop, then it had like another little sort of counter thing that had shelves in, so we could hide all the tut and all the booze. And then we got another little stand on the corner, and it was just like a million times better. It was worth every penny.
I think we learned a lesson from that ourselves as well there, and it's all about the branding. And the previous years where we went there, we took lots of goodies from like Zero and Free Agent, and Tufts even provide us with some stuff as well. And I think we were pushing other people's branding rather than our own. This year was very much about the pet accountant, and we went hard with our branding. Everything was on brand. Even the cups that we were using to pour the alcohol into was the right color of orange.
You do need an alcohol license, so to give alcohol at Crufts, but we didn't know, so we were hiding it and putting it in paper cups.
We wasn't selling it; it was just for select clients and ourselves.
Yeah, to get us there.
So yes, but again, we live and learn, and we make sure that we do things right next year.
But yes, getting the right branding and investing that money. You know, if you're going to do these shows, whether it was the stand that brought us, I would say, larger clients, as in turnover wise, or whether it said in general
better quality inquiries. The last years, everybody was interested in what was in the bags on the tables, what do we have for free. So we were talking to an awful lot of people, but it was a little bit frivolous conversations. They didn't really go nowhere. There was maybe no meaning or intention at the start of it. But this year was, it was smashed out of the ballpark this year. We were inundated. The stand next to us got a little bit angry because we were blocking the hallway.
Yeah, so we'll give you some gossip. So so where our stand was in hall 1, we were like, as you come in the entrance, we were like diagonal across, and we had like a corner plot. So we had 2 open-ended bits, so we could speak to people around like in an L shape.
So we could see the front doors, basically.
So because we were on a corner, we had then 2 stands that had sides either side, so they only had like a front bit. We always get friendly with the ones on the end, the WWF, the charity, and we always chat to them, so they're fine. But the ones in the middle was originally, when we were setting up, Victoria Stillwell. So we were like, "Oh yes,
buy them with booze, get friendly,
get friendly with her, get her on the podcast." It was great. However, when we came back the Thursday, she'd moved, not because of us, because they wanted.
I was going to say it was nothing I did personally. I blame Vicky.
It was just because they wanted a bigger stand. So then there was no one there on the Thursday. And then on Friday, we had Darren from Motion to Profit, who came and did a day worth of videoing to get some video content, some video testimonials off clients. We've got a blooper reel, which I can't wait to see, and just let us do some videos and stuff like that. So if you ever want a videographer or someone to do podcasts and stuff, then Darren's your guy. So make sure you get in touch with him, Motion to Profit, little plug there for him. It was excellent, by the way. So, but bearing in mind, opposite us was Butternut Box that had like a massive square. They just took up half the room. But the walkway between our row of stands and Butternut Box was very wide. I'm not very good at meters, but I would say it was at least 4 meters wide.
Yeah, I would have said 2 to 3.
Okay, we'll go with
bigger than 2, but 3. Yeah, about 3 meters.
It's 3 meters wide, so it was plenty of space for people to walk around. And obviously, was, I'm not going to say what he's selling, some stuff, and I'm not going to plug it, whatever. But anyway, he had his little stand. You have like a grey line and you can't go past the grey line with your stand, but he had pushed his probably that far out of the grey line, and we were like, right, okay. Anyway, didn't care. And we were filming and stuff, and people were walking around us, and obviously we had a lot of people coming to the stand. So at some points it was like 2-3 people deep because we were all chatting around. And I missed it annoyingly. I was like, no, I missed it. But basically I came back and Lee's face was fuming. And I was like, what's happened? And he basically had an argument with the guy next door because he was like, can you just take all your people and talk to them over in that corner because you're blocking people coming to our stand? Bear in mind, it was like 3 or 4 meters wide and we weren't blocking anyone going to a stand. So basically, I'd fight someone in Crufts.
To be fair, in my defense, I didn't catch the first bit that he said. I only caught the second half of it. And I was like, what's this guy's attitude problem for? And then he was just like, you're blocking the stand. People can't get through and button up box are the same. And I'm like, what the hell's happening? So he got a short few words from me that were not very nice.
Yeah, so he started, but then for the rest of the time they were absolutely fine. However,
he was really chatty afterwards because he realised that it wasn't our fault and it was just a very, very quiet lane.
It was very quiet for him, to be fair. But then on the Sunday, Lee and Tegan went off on a wonder, and he started a fight with the guy at Button-Up Box. Now, I thought they were actually going to fight at one point because they were very close to each other. So I was like, oh my God. So yes, all happened at this year's, because actually last year we had a woman who was in distress outside the Moxie because someone allegedly was trying to steal a poodle. No one else helped. So obviously, me with my background and Lee just being Lee, we thought we're going to go and step in and help her, and then we got spat on and shoved. So that was like, okay, great. But we did help her, and then this year, matey boy next door was having a pop. So maybe we're just like a magnet for these things.
So the moral of today's story is: if you're going to Crufts, take mace.
Take pepper spray. But yes, apart from that minor little to do, it was actually a really good 4 days. It did probably cost us in total, I would say, $7,000.
I think so,
give or take $1,000. But at least $7,000. And you're probably thinking, bloody hell, like that is a lot for 4 days, and it is. And especially we had me, Lee, Tegan for all from Wednesday to Sunday, and we also had Jodie and Nicola Friday and Saturday. So there's 5 of us. Obviously, got to feed us and have somewhere to sleep and stuff, and all of the travel costs. But we do make our money back on Crufts, especially this year has been really, really good. We've made way more than $7,000,
and that's key, isn't it? It's regardless of, it's not just about and today isn't about our business. What we're trying to do is educate those of you that haven't been to Crufts before, that are considering trade shows, of maybe some of the hidden costs that you don't necessarily see when it comes to a trade show. And it is things like getting your stand prepared, the travel costs down, the cost that you incur whilst you're there. Because it's a captive market, you pay more for food and drink, and that's the nature of the beast, and I think if you have got a product or service to sell, you've got a very limited window. And I get why the guy next to us was frustrated, because they were working on commission only. And if you've got nobody walking past your stand, and I mean, on the Saturday there was 36,000 people in that hall. And if you stepped outside of the one opposite our stand, you were shoulder to shoulder and you were just shuffling like penguins. Opposite our stand, where they were, in the middle of 2 stalls that had open ends to sort of either end of the veins of people, where we had abundance of people, there was nobody. I mean, you could literally set up a picnic table and sit there uninterrupted in the middle of Crufts. And so that stand position for them was extremely poor. So I get his frustration.
Probably why Victoria's still well moved. It was quite a small stand as well,
and they needed a bigger stand, didn't they? So they I think they had a narrow escape with that one, and they what they did was right by moving. So
location,
but I think
it's key.
Even if you are looking to go to Crufts as a consumer to look for something to buy, what would you say, Vic? Because I personally didn't find the discounts there that some of them did have good discounts, granted.
Yeah.
But there was a couple of stands that like me and Tegan went to look for things, and
I think
we could honestly buy them cheaper locally.
I think it depends what you're looking for. I think for the groomers, when they go to like the shampoo companies and Christie's and things like that, I think they probably do have the offers on the shampoo. And obviously Elliot from Peanut and Pickle had offers on his shampoo.
He did.
So I think if you're a groomer, then there probably is worth going. For everyone else, like I said, when we were looking to get some like raw treats like rabbit ears and fish cubes and stuff, I mean, we didn't get a chance to go through all of the halls this year again, which another thing we every year try and say, right, we're going to go mingle. We just didn't have a chance this year. We couldn't get out the stand. But we went and had a look at a few of the raw food stuff, and it was actually more expensive than where we get it from locally. So you have to do your research. I think if you're going as a consumer, the best way to get around Crufts is to find the people that are going to be there, and then plan where you want to go and which ones you want to find in each hall, rather than just willy-nilly going in there with your map, because you can get lost. And
I think you follow the crowds as well, and that was the problem with the stand, wasn't it? Was that people were following the crowds rather than walking around the halls aimlessly. So you're just in this long conveyor belt line of people, like a conga line, going around certain parts of the stores, and there was so much that you can miss. So you know, and there was stands there that I didn't even read. The same hall as us.
We didn't even get into stand 3, 4, 5.
No, not this year.
We literally did stand 1, stand 2. So next year we're going to have Georgie and Nicola there the whole time, just to give me and Lee a bit of relief, so that we can go and mingle and talk to people, because we have clients that show there. We have clients who've got stands there, and obviously for us, we don't do it just to get business. We do it as a central point for clients to come and say hello.
And a meet and greet, isn't it? Yeah,
it's a meet and greet, and clients get to come and say hello. They know that they can come and speak to us face to face, obviously, because we deal with everyone across the UK. It's hard when your accountant might be 200 miles away from you. Obviously, you've got Zoom and things like that, but it's always nice to come and see them in person. I mean, we get a lot of people. We get a lot of people every year come up to us and go, "Oh, I just wanted to make sure that you guys were real, because obviously I follow you online, but I just didn't know whether, like, you know, you were actually real or not." And we had quite a few people that came up and said, "Oh, we listened to your podcast, and it's weird seeing you in the flesh, because now we know you're actually real." And it's weird that people think we're not real, but you can never be too careful in this day and age. So we've had that. We had people come and ask us what we did.
Oh, we had a T-shirt as well, didn't we?
Oh, hang on.
Another T-shirt.
I've got it. So as we know, there's a running theme. Well, last year, as a joke, we had a hashtag that said #don't need an accountant, because I went on a bit of a rant about people saying on social media that it's easy and you don't need an accountant. So I started this thing that said #don't need an accountant. And then a few days later, I got a lovely mug from one of our clients called Sam that said #don't need an accountant, which is we still use. And then another client that comes, and he came in with a T-shirt that said #don't need an accountant, which I thought was hilarious. And I took the shirt off his back. Bless him, he put a vest on.
Literally undressed him in the middle of
Literally undressed in the middle of Crufts. So he came prepared this year, because he had a spare T-shirt and he wore a vest underneath. But this year he did this T-shirt. So it's orange, obviously. On brand. And it says, and he was wearing this from Crufts, by the way. It says, "I've got the best accountant, the pet accountant." And just to make it an allowable expense, he put his little business name
he did.
as well. So there we go. So this is my 2025 Crufts T-shirt. I am going to frame them all. So next year, he's got the task of a grey one with my face on it that says "Vicky is the best." So if you're listening, Kevin, it's for you. So that was so we had a lot of people come up to the stand saying, "What do you do?" Which does make me laugh every time, because there's a massive sign behind me that says accountant. Now I don't know how more obvious we could make it.
Well, we even changed the strap line, didn't we? So rather than accountant for pet professionals, we changed it on the banner to say accounting for pet focused businesses.
I don't even know what you changed it to.
No, I don't know.
I mean, it had massive letters saying accountant, and we had people coming up going, "What do you do?" And I thought, really? And someone came up and said, "Do you do stationery?"
Yeah. I had one saying, do we have like an online directory where people can add their service, then clients can find them?
Oh yeah, no, we don't do that. So we had a lot of that, which does keep us busy. We had a lot of, and by the time it gets to 5 o'clock, me and Lee just have enough.
Yeah.
Then we get a lot of what makes you different to my local accountant, which we don't mind that question because we do get that a lot, and it is a very valid question. However, some people just literally walked up and went, "Well, why are you different?" And with a bit of an attitude. And I thought, well, okay, we'll go there.
Now, they could have been accountants because we did see some of them walking back, recording the store and looking at all the branding and the merchandise.
Yeah, we get all the accountants come up and steal the stuff and look at it. And then you can tell they're accountants because they look boring and they're old and they're just like, you could just tell they're accountants. You're like, have you got a dog business? And they're like, no, I'm an accountant. It's like, well, bore off then and get your own ideas. So we shimmy them along. We had a lady that picked up a leaflet and Tegan said, do you have a dog business? And she went, no, but I have got a dog. And we're like, not quite the clientele we're looking for. So we do get funny questions. We did get the what makes you different to your local accountant. And, you know, one of the things is, which is very obvious, is we specialise in the pet industry, which your local accountant doesn't. And, you know, Lee makes a very good thing is, you know, you wouldn't go to an accountant that specialised in hair and beauty if you were a dog groomer or
hospitality sector, with pubs and hotels.
So you would come to us rather than your local accountant because we are specialists in the pet industry and we are one of the only ones in the UK that do it. And there's lots out there that say they do them like dog groomers when they do all of the other stuff as well. But we focus on the pet industry, so that is the main difference. So we know what to do. So, which I'll not get into that because it's not the point of the podcast. But yes, we had a lot of questions. Lee, obviously, yes, as Tegan rightly said, had one that said, came up to the stand and just went, never heard of you before. And what was your response, Lee?
That's all right. I've never heard of you either.
So we were making friends at Crufts.
To be fair, was funny. Her mother laughed behind her. So it was said in a funny way.
It was said in a funny way. But yes, we do get some very strange requests and very strange questions at Crufts. But we spoke to a hell of a lot of trainers this year, dog trainers, and a lot of breeders.
Breeders more this year.
Yeah, I think because of obviously all the changes with HMRC and the letters and the fact you have to now license to then be able to register for tax.
The insurance company come up to us and asked if they could partner with us because they had, 60,000 breeders on their database, and they wanted the accountancy firm to say that it's not them that's releasing the data to HMRC to dob these people in. But obviously, if HMRC requests the information, then they have a legal obligation to release it.
It was Agria, wasn't it? Agria, I don't know how you pronounce it.
I couldn't remember exactly, but again, so there was an awful lot of breeders around this year looking for accountants or looking for advice, just in general, probably because of how public the HMRC have been with the letters that they've been sending for the disclosures of the puppies.
So we had a lot of mixture of everything: vet physios, dog groomers, dog walkers, boarders, vets, farriers, bloody all sorts. So it's always good to meet new people there. Obviously, people like to see us in the flesh rather than on the telephone. So we always do really well at Crufts anyway. But this year was just really nice to catch up with some clients. We will release the videos that we took. There's some few bloopers.
There's some characters this year as well. In all fairness, it was probably my best year just because of the people that we met there. So just being able to have a laugh with clients and non-clients. It was people that we've not necessarily met before, and people that we see year on year. So
Tegan Ellie even got someone's sperm. So
she did. Yeah, so, she did.
You never know who you're going to meet at Crufts or what you're going to get offered. So there we go. So yes, we had a lovely mix of people and dogs. We had the very cute little mini sausage dog from UK Sniffer Dogs who came and spoke to us, and we got to hold his little dog for half an hour, which was cute. We had some Bichons come over. What else did we had? Oh, a poodle
what I didn't realize, we had somebody, and I'll be careful with all the details. I have to be careful with clients' names and things. But we had a client with a dog that come over that was going through some training. It had a little tendency to bite people if they touched it. So in my wiseness of being there, I decided to fill the water bottle on my hands and knees next to the dog without realizing it's come up and licking my face. The dog was lovely, really friendly. And what I didn't realize afterwards is actually the dog come from one of our other clients as one of the rescues. So I didn't know that at the time. Yeah. So that was nice. So.
Yeah, so a security dog in training, a German Shepherd who was cute, who I didn't stand anywhere near because I was too scared. But then some lady, in her infinite wisdom, so our client and Tegan had their backs to the thing, and the dog was obviously in between.
It was
the client
and Tegan. To be fair, it was so
and it was
friendly,
just sat there. It was just sat there, really good, and this woman came up behind our client who was training the dog and stuck a hand in and was like, "Oh, cute dog!" And she, to be fair, the client was like, "No." And slapped her hand back.
Ninja fat reaction.
Like ninja fat. And it did have a yellow thing on saying do not pet. But this woman just came up from behind us, behind the dog, and stuck her hand in. So thank God our client was on full alert, smacked her hand away and said, "Look, really sorry, but you can't touch the dog."
Yeah.
So that could have been interesting. But yes, so we do get all sorts. We had a couple of dogs poo in front of the stand, which is never absolutely stunk.
That was a bit shit this year, wasn't it?
It was a bit shit. We got rid of all our fizzy wine. So the
we did.
Fizzy wine. Sarah and Natalie always come and sit behind the stall on the chairs and just go through a couple of bottles. So that's
pretend that the admin staff helping out.
Yeah, put all their shopping behind the stall so they don't have to carry it around Crufts for a few hours. But no, for us, it's such a nice central point where we can see clients. Have a drink with them, have a chat, answer any questions, see how they're getting on, and also new clients as well. And we've had people that come up to us and go, "Do you know what? We had one lady that said to me, I've been following you since you started the Pet Accountant in 2021, and I've just plucked up the courage now to come and speak to you." Yeah. And we do get that a lot, that people say, "Oh, we've been stalking you for a couple of years online." Now we feel comfortable enough to come up and actually take your services. So it does take some people a while. And also you've got to remember that as a business yourself, people need to trust you. And especially if you're looking after their dog in any capacity, then the trust bit is got to be earned. So that's why we always say, put your stuff on social media all of the time. It's not spammy, because otherwise people are never going to know who you are or get to know you. So yes, we had some interesting characters, interesting dogs that were hidden in crates, and it was bizarre. Saw some very odd dogs. I actually stroked a poodle. So if anyone knows me that much, they know I'm not a massive fan of poodles. The giant ones I've got issues with. The little ones, not so much. But this one didn't have the creepy feet or the shaved face. So Tegan.
It was a miniature poodle.
It was a miniature poodle, but still a poodle. And I did tell one of our other clients that has the giant ones, and luckily she didn't come to Crufts because she always brings them. And then I petted the little miniature poodle, which is a big thing for me because I'm not a fan of poodles. So didn't see any giant ones, so thank God, because I'm not keen on those. But I did one, and it does count, Tegan, because I touched it. So I faced my fear. There were some very expensive paintings on the ones opposite us.
There was, yeah.
Good odd quid for a tiny painting of a dog.
But that was really weird because they were priced in euros, but he doesn't tell you they're priced in euros until you go over.
Oh yeah, until you buy them, and he's like, "I'll have to do it in euros," and it costs you more than what you.
And it costs you more. Yeah, that's really. Oh, yeah, that might have been a bit dodgy. That.
I bought prints, by the way, which were 40 quid, not 350. We're like, "Oh, that's good." Oh, maybe not.
Yeah.
But no, it was very good. We will be there again next year, hopefully.
I bought a harness for my 6-stone boxer.
Yeah.
The lady went, I can't even repeat the words that she said.
To RSPCA
I know.
Dog.
I went over and I said, "Look, I've got a boxer dog. He's a little bit on the larger side, and I need a harness for him." She went, "Oh, how heavy is he?" And I said, "Oh, he's 6 stone." And she gasped a 4-letter word beginning with F. And then picked up this harness and went, "You might need this size." And obviously my mum was there with us on the stand, and she went, "No, it needs to be bigger. So we got the biggest Jules harness that we could get, and it fits him perfectly. So he doesn't need to lose weight now because he's got a harness that fits. So
The dog is huge.
to be fair, we were at the vets last week, earlier this week on Saturday, and even the vet said that whilst he is a big boxer, he's not massively overweight. He could do with losing a few pounds, but he's not huge. He's just solid.
He's big, like
so,
he's a big dog anyway, isn't he?
He is big dog, yeah. Considering when he's got his brother next to him who's a stone lighter. So yeah.
But there we go. So we will be there next year. We'll probably go at the same hotel. And we might have a few extra things on the stand because I think Lee's getting excited. He wants to buy something else now. We might have some socks with our faces on because every client that came up to us and said, "Where's the socks?" We didn't have any socks this year, so
I only have one rule going forward. The reason we didn't have them this year is because I said everything has to be on brand going forward. So, and we couldn't get them produced quick enough to be able to get them in time for Crufts. So we left it too late this year. But next year we're looking at like our own merchandise as well to give away, like pens or poo bag holders, something that we can give to our clients whilst they're there to have little things with our logos on. Just so that people can take them away. Because I think we did miss that this year, but I just didn't see the point in having the software provided with bits and pieces. It's from a business perspective, and ultimately this is what it's all about, is growing your business and growing your brand. It did nothing for us, but did for those software providers who didn't pay to be there, which is the mistake that we've made in previous years. So, it's good to reflect on what you're doing as a business and what worked and what didn't work and the changes that you're going to make going forward. And that doesn't matter whether it's a trade show or whether it was your last week of sales, reviewing what it is that you're doing within your business and then making a plan of how you're going to change it going forward will have big effects on your profits, on your takings and your enjoyment from the business as well.
Yeah, no, I feel that's very good parting words.
Yeah.
So we'll be back next week. There was a post in Bill's group. Someone said they would like a live on tax saving tips.
For VAT, I think that wasn't it?
It was around VAT, but then just VAT saving tips or tips on VAT and things maybe people can do if they're a limited company to save some money. What they can do as a sole trader is try and save some money. So we will do that next week. I think we're both here. So that'll be on next week. We've still got our offers on the all-in-one package. So if you're interested in getting on board with that, especially if your turnover is over 50 grand and you're not on software, because you're going to have to be next year. So it's something you need to think about.
I think now is a good point to point out as well, is that we are coming to the end of the tax year. We have literally weeks left before the tax year ends. So the self-assessment season and the window for being able to complete the self-assessments are going to open back up from the 6th of April. So I know, people are like, oh, again, it just ended.
Again.
But if you're going to be organized and you want to know how well you've done, you're going to want to know whether or not you want to be on that MTD if you're over the £50,000 mark. So get those records together, start reaching out to us now if you're not a client that you want to become a client. We work with proactive business owners who like to get things done nice and early so that we can work with them, change any of the behaviors that maybe haven't been so tax efficient for you previously. And now gives us the opportunity to do that because we're starting a clean slate from the 6th of April. So if you want to reach out to us, you want to pick our brains, you need to ask us any questions about habits that you need to drop and tax efficiencies going forward, now is the time, because you can do them from the very, very get-go of the tax year.
And also, we still have a few record-keeping packs, the physical packs, left over from Crufts. So if you do want one of those to start from next month, if you are a paper and pen person and you don't need to go onto the digital software yet, then please get yourself onto our store on the website and get those ordered, because
we don't have many left. So
we're not going to be printing out anymore. So once they're gone, they're gone. I think Emily said there's a few left. So get those orders in now, ready for April. I think Tegan's going to do a video on them at some point in the next couple of days to show you guys what's in there and how they work. So keep your eyes peeled for that if you are interested in getting it. It's only like 28 quid or something. which is a business expense, and it is full of stuff. So definitely worth getting your hands on if you struggle a little bit with your.
They can be used if you are our client and you like filling pen and paper and you just want to return them to us completed. You can use them for another accountant and you can give them to your other accountant. Or if you're doing your own tax return, they are ideal for keeping all of your records all in one central place for you to record them month in, month out. And they're designed in a way that helps you record as the month ends. You can transfer it all to the back of the book, so that by the time you get to the end of the year, you've tallied everything up ready, so your figures are ready to go into your self-assessment.
Very neat. Right, well, we will let you guys get back to work, and we will catch you next week on Wednesday, our normal day, to talk about tax saving tips. We
couldn't do tomorrow because I've booked an aeroplane to go fly into Blackpool, so I can have an ice cream on the Pleasure Beach and then fly back again. So that's why we're not here tomorrow.
I hope it rains. Right. So we'll be back normal time and day next week, unless Lee's swanning off somewhere else for an ice cream or a donkey ride. And we'll just have fun. Make sure you keep all your receipts.
That could be your Grindr profile, couldn't it? Your donkey ride.
Yeah. Do you want a donkey ride? Yeah, we'll not go down there. That's for another episode on Friday night.
That's late night pet accountant, and we'll do like 2 different podcasts.
Yeah. Probably not wise. Anyway, on that note, hopefully Dan will cut that out. And have fun, everyone, and we'll catch up with you guys next week.
Have fun. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.